Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of Broken Theory. Today we got the homie INSYT. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. Blessed.
That's good.
I heard some of your music, man, and it's real dope. I just wanted to know, how'd you get started making music?
Honestly, I was probably writing songs and all that when I was in like fourth grade, low key. But in terms of like the actual music production, like I think it's been like half a decade, probably like five or 6 years.
Wow. So you were producing before you started making music?
Yeah, I was trying to be like the next Dilla, to be honest.
Wow. You know, I kind of get, like, as far as from what I've heard, the way that you do program your drums, it's very similar to how Dilla does, you know, unorthodox. I like that about the sound.
Yeah, definitely rely on like kind of not quantizing stuff, but letting it be a little human and letting it be, you know, like not completely perfect. It kind of makes you glitch out of it, but it just feels a little bit more natural, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I wish a lot more artists would do that, you know what I mean? Because it just sets the tone for what's about to come out of them. You know what I mean? As far as like, yo, you're human. Like, just chill. Talk about your real life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's true. It's like it's not so robotic.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the times when you have like the robotic sounding instrumentation mixed with like the robotic lyrics of like, I'm him, like I get money, I get this, it's like, all right, bro. It's like
so
it's
cut and dry.
Too, like, exactly. Yeah. It's like a little too perfect. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. You actually got to believe the image. You know what I'm saying? Because with social media these days, you know, these new fans, man, they like some detectives out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can smell it. If you faking the funk, bro, they can smell it.
Yeah, it's like I think like the way social media is going, it's like such a different space, and I think people are really leaning towards like genuine art, you know, and just like stuff that is authentic.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I started this platform, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, I didn't have nobody reaching out to me as an artist. And that's something that I feel like, you know, as someone starting up, they could benefit from that, you know what I mean? Just somebody just caring about their story, or like giving them the platform to be able to express how they feel, or like why they made certain songs to their actual fans that they have. It may not be a lot, but like those people may need to have that deeper connection with their songs, you know what I'm saying? So it could spread like wildfire. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I for one, I definitely appreciate like the invite and like allowing me on here and everything.
No doubt.
And two, it's like I would definitely rather have like 100 people who are invested in the music and really care about the art and the image versus having like 100,000 people who just like casually, you know, intaking the music.
100%, man. I wouldn't have gave you this interview, man, if I didn't feel like you deserved it either, man. Your music is dope.
Facts, bro.
You know,
thank you, man.
Presentation wise, like, you know, you're doing a lot better than most people, like when they're first starting off, man. I definitely want to give you your flowers on that.
Thank you.
So starting with production, how did you get involved in like starting to make beats?
Man, I think I just started. I was like, let me find the sample I like and like see if I can loop it in a way that makes sense. And then eventually, I guess I graduated from that to actually trying to like chop samples in GarageBand. Like, let me EQ this and see how it sounds. And then from there, you know, you graduate to like, let me see if I can put drums on this and see how that sounds. And then I started getting into hardware. I got an SP44, I got an SP303. And I was like, let me teach myself like how to just make beats like in this machine. So, and yeah, I really was just like, the goal was never like to like get a bunch of players or to get, you know, I just really wanted to put music out that I thought was cool on SoundCloud, to be honest with you.
Nah, that's how it starts, man. Like me personally, when I first started making music, I started making music for myself. And then that grew into like me and my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like once they heard what I was
Yeah.
doing, because they were bored with music too. You know what I'm saying? So it was like,
Yeah.
you know, after a little while, you get tired of like what's being spoon fed to you on the radio and like what you're
Yeah.
exposed to because of your environment. Because there's a lot of good music out there that like people will never see because like they're so closed off on, you know, their circles and stuff like that. But we do this shit for the culture. We do this shit for the art. Like it's in us. We gotta get it out. You know what I'm saying?
Facts,
So
man.
definitely.
It's like what you would like to hear. You know what I mean? Let me create like what me, like this is the type of music I like to hear, so I'm gonna make it. You know? What
Yeah.
I mean?
And chances are, you know what I'm saying? If you feel that way about something, it's gonna resonate with your audience. It may not be somebody that listens to rock and roll. It may not be somebody that listens to trap. But like the more people you show your music to, the more you're exposed to what your audience is actually like, what they actually like. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, if you show it to a punk rocker, I'm not using this as like a literal case thing to do, but I'm just saying, you show it to a punk rocker, he likes it. You show it to someone that likes Afro beats, they don't. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of understand why and like what appeals to which crowd more and start being able to taste the record. You know what I mean?
Find your niche.
Exactly.
Like, find your audience.
And just build from there. How did you find your sound? I know you mentioned that you looked up to Jay Dilla and he influenced your production heavy. Who were some of the other people that you looked up to and how did that help you shape your sound?
Man, in terms of production, definitely Knowledge was a big one.
I can hear
so many beats that he has. That's like, it's like I don't even know what the sound is. Like, I don't even know what I'm hearing right now. It's like, and
what are one of those?
My Life by Knowledge off that HUD Dreams album. I love. He has I can't remember what the tape is, but he has a green. It's like a tape with like a little green character. It's like the claymation. I can't remember what it's called, but it's all soul loops. Like there's basically no drums on that project, and that was super like. For me at the time, I was like, oh, I didn't even know you could do that. Drop a beat tape and it's just loops. Like there's no drums on it. Like that's.
There are no rules, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it taught me. I think that's what like a lot of the other music I was listening to in terms of production taught me is like, yeah, you can make a beat that doesn't sound good. You can make a beat that doesn't make any sense. It's just like pots and pans and like, you know what I mean? So
I dig it, man. Where do you find your inspiration from, like to create?
Man, first and foremost, just like life. To be honest with you, like I'm in the best creative mindset when I have like done a lot. Like if I've been to a lot of places and I've talked to a lot of people and I've experienced a lot of new things, and when I go back on my ones and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make music, it's like I have so much to work off of because there's so much, and it could go either way. It could be like maybe I'm not doing well, maybe it's like I'm sad, or maybe it's like, you know, look, either way, it's like I've experienced enough that I can put that into the music. That's when my inspiration, I feel, lies.
Absolutely. I mean, life is always going to be life, and you know what I'm saying? And as soon as you understand that, kind of like get a hold of like what life is to you outside of music, you're able to grasp what music is to you, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because you understand where you fit in, and the little time that you do have, you're not wasting it doing things that don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Because you could be like too involved in the music.
Yeah. Like
to the point it's like you aren't really living life. And then it's like you have nothing to work off of in terms of like the writing. At least, and this is just from my perspective, but it's like, I'm not doing anything, so I can't make music. I'm not doing anything. It's hard to make music about doing nothing. You know what
I mean, I feel like you can.
You definitely can.
It's based off experience, you know, and people write about other people's experience as well too. But I feel like in those times, what I've learned to do is just solely focus on writing about emotion. maybe something that maybe inspired some type of emotion and just create that feeling, whether that be a beat, whether that be a song hook or something like that. Just like leave it there and you know, come back to it later. You know what I'm saying? But just like always applying myself. You know what I mean? Always.
That's really what you're chasing, I think, in terms of music, is like the chasing a feeling. Especially when you're talking about beats, like all these producers like Knowledge, Madlib, like I don't know. It's like this beat sounds like a feeling, or this beat sounds like a moment. You know what I mean? It doesn't. Or Alchemist, especially, it's like it doesn't just sound like this is a loop. It sounds like there's actually some life somehow behind.
It sounds like a movie, man. It sounds like a movie.
Yeah,
that's the best way I could describe it, because it like automatic off of the beat alone. You know what I'm saying? Especially with like a lot of boom bap, man. Like you just get this scene created off of bass, like just sounds. You know what I'm saying? And then you add the storytelling aspect to it, and it's like this beautiful thing. But it's up to you to cultivate it and how your perception is to see it. Like if you just treat it like every other song you do, you know what I'm saying, then it's like, you know, you're not really gonna get anything put in that little bit of effort. But it's like, if you treat that thing like it's your baby and you might not get that moment of creativity again, oh, that's where that because you never know. I mean,
like, it's not just a beat, or it's not just like music. It's like you definitely have a window of like being able to create something, and it's gonna come and it's gonna go. You know what I mean? And there's no telling. It's not really up to you, to be honest with you. You know, in my eyes, you don't really have much control over it. So you have to just like let it flow through you and just appreciate it and be grateful and all that. So
absolutely, man. What are some of the tools that have helped you as an independent artist? Could it be faith? Could it be work ethic? What are some of the things that kind of help you keep yourself grounded?
Yeah, I think it's just like having, like, I don't know what you want to call it, colleagues or friends that just rap, and other musician homies that like are like-minded. Definitely keeps me grounded, because it's like now I'm not just going off of my own opinion or my own perspective. Like other people can, especially when it comes to like the business side of things. But I also do think faith is like a big one for me, and just being like, whatever you want to call it, like the freedom to call it God, the universe, you know, whatever you just want to like subscribe to that. Like I definitely try to allow something that's bigger than me carry the music and carry the sound, and that keeps me grounded. Like I don't try to do it and be like, oh yeah, this is all me, you know? It's like this is like I saw an Alchemist interview. He said like, you know, this is something that was here before I got here, and it's gonna be here when I leave this planet. So it's like having a respect for the art form, I think, keeps me grounded.
Nah, that's the biggest thing, man, for sure. When you're in a creative block, do you have any go-to methods to kind of get back on track?
Man, it's like if I'm trying to sit down and write a song, and I try to do whatever, and it's like it's not happening, it's just not happening. It's not my.
Do you just like give up and like leave the studio, or like what do you do?
I mean, for me, like a lot of the music I make is just like me on my ones, like in the house or just like in the car or whatever. So it's like a lot of the times it comes down to like, damn, is there something else I should be doing in my life right now with my time? Like, what am I, like, what, I don't know. It could be like, let's go take a walk. Let's go like do something else. And then come back to it. Because I've had so many times it's like, I want to make a song today. Like, I want to, but it just doesn't happen, you know? And it's just like, okay, it just wasn't meant to, today's just not my day. Go do something else. And you could be creative in other areas. You know, maybe I mix a song I'm already working on, and maybe you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
what would you say is a moment that helped you realize that, like, in order for the creativity to flow, taking the breaks is very necessary?
I feel like just like hearing the life in the music, I guess, like probably 2 summers ago, I didn't make any like I didn't write anything. Like I just made beats and I made one song. But then that one song I made at the end of the summer was like so filled with life and so filled with like so much of,
Is it out right now?
It is out right now, yeah.
All right, name drop it.
Yeah, Good Problems to Have, featuring my guy Eyes Wide Shut. It was honestly probably the best song I think I had made up until like that point in my musical journey. I think a part of it has to do with the fact that I spent the summer having a good time, like literally
that's
just making
amazing.
beats and just like.
So like you saw the effect that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like to your music career, like, and you just kept watering those seeds.
Yeah, just like not putting any pressure on myself that I have to like make like 2 songs today. And just like going with the flow and letting it happen naturally and how it's supposed to go.
So in a typical week, how often would you say that you create?
Jeez. I mean, yeah, creativity looks different depending on where I'm at and like the stage of development. But like, if I'm creating a project and it's like halfway done and I'm in the middle of it, like I'll go to the record store like try maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Because like even in my mind that's being creative. Because even going into the store and physically being there and flipping through the rec and I'm working. I'm some people might see it that way, but I'm working and then going home and putting it on the turntable and listening to it and then being inspired, and then maybe coming back to that sample. Like I'll do that probably 3 times a week. But like where I'm at right now, because I have a project that's like pretty much close to done. It's like now the creative process is more just maybe I'll mix, when I have time, or planning like the fine-tuned things with like my friends that do videography. You know what I mean? Just like different avenues.
Yeah,
for sure.
Let's talk about that for a second. You said you have some friends that do videography. How did that relationship start, and what effect did it have on your craft?
Yeah, man. So last year I dropped a project called The View from the Sky in February. Just an EP, and one of my good homies, Genesis, out of Seattle, like a very talented director, listened to it and was like, he had a vision for a short film that he wanted to make. And I was so down just because at this point in like the creative process for me, I was so ready just like to turn people's heads and so ready to like fully encapsulate this insight, do the full thing. So yeah, we spent the year planning it. I worked and I saved up the budget for it and we made it happen. And that, it's called How to Draw a Circle. It's on YouTube. Like that film, which was for my latest album, Mikasa, like fully changed everything in terms of like artistic direction and like just how people perceive the art, you know what I mean? So
absolutely. As far as like doing a short film, was that something that you always wanted to do, or the circumstance presented itself and you were just kind of like going along with the flow?
I was definitely going with the flow, but looking back, especially just like the content of my last album, like a short film made a lot more sense than like a music video, because the content of the album was such like I was like really breaking open emotionally. Like so much about myself was being exposed. Like I was in such like a growing point in my life of stuff I had to get through. And like I don't even think a music video for one song really would have done it justice. Like doing the short film almost like put respect on the experiences that informed the music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you 100%. I mean, when you take the time to craft a project like a short film and drop an album, it just shows the level of dedication, 1, and 2, how many hours you've been putting in to, give it for free to the world, because the way that
'cause
society has pretty much changed as far as the music industry, it's not no more like buying music, it's streaming. I mean, we're trying to take that back, but you know, for the ones trying to climb up, it's a harder battle. Getting somebody to not listen to your music on Spotify to actually purchase. They're like, well, Drake's doing his for free. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what you're up against. And that's always the narrative for those minded people. But there's people like you and me who, you know, prefer to have the physical of, you know, we see it all the time. Big albums getting taken off of streaming platforms.
It literally just happened.
Yep, they did it with Food.
Exactly.
They did it with Doggy Style. They did it with a lot of big albums. And every time they did it, in my head, the first thing that popped up was, I'm so glad I bought the vinyl.
Yeah. Man, I don't have Food on vinyl, unfortunately. So like I wasn't one of those people, but like I was like, dang, like we really as fans don't have a say, you know, in terms of like whether this music gets to stay on this platform. And it's like with streaming and everything like that, it's really put in the position where the beneficiaries, aka Spotify and the labels, really, you know, get the control and they control the market and they get the money.
Yep.
So for us artists, I think it's like, yo, you got to lock in with your like direct to fan transactions.
Yeah.
Vinyl, merchandise, and if you're putting like the effort into the art and everything like that, I think like be like
100%. I think honestly, man, trying to make it as an independent artist is very, very hard. Some people are out here, you know, just looking for someone to save them, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But like, there are some artists that aren't looking for a charity case and are trying to just get it off of doing what they can do. Those artists, I simply recommend getting your life together financially first before deciding to go for music full throttle. As far as spending money, you know what I'm saying? Building a discography is the best thing that you can do during that moment, to where you don't have a budget to do Instagram ads, you don't have a budget to do this, because we've seen it all the time. Old records from 5 years ago pop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people that have been making music for 10 years and then just finally get discovered, like Griselda and stuff like that. It's like, where we, you know, you feel some type of way by missing out on all of this stuff. The first thing you do is go back to their discography and listen to everything at one time. At least me personally. But everything costs money, man. In the society like that, to where you're up against these big labels, how do you market yourself? Do you do ads? Is it word of mouth? Do you do shows? Like, what are some of the things that you're doing to kind of battle against these big labels?
Yeah, I feel like just like if you're an artist, I think nowadays you gotta do content. You have to do, and whether that content is like super high quality or super like just like simple, like you have to. I think Reels and TikToks are just like it's an easy way to like talk to the world. Now, obviously, not every video is gonna pop, not every video is gonna do well, but like, hey, if you post a reel with your face in it saying like, hey, I made this song, like, what do you think? And one person follows you from that, it's like you're winning. That's a W. You just gained new fans. So I do now. I'm doing ad campaigns, you know, for YouTube, like investing some money there.
If you don't mind sharing, how much have you played around with, give or take, in a span of how many months?
Like how much like have I spent, or what do you mean? Like,
yeah, like how long have you been doing it, and how much have you spent?
I've been doing it not for too long, probably like within the last 6 months, I'd say, because when the short film dropped, I did it for that too. So it's like probably maybe like $200 or $300 I spent. I don't even know if I'd recommend it. Like, you get a lot of impressions on your ads, but not necessarily a lot of like actual clicks and engagement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of hit or miss. Um, but the big thing I think is shows, man. Like performances, like get out into the actual world and meet actual people and perform music for real. Because man, so many performances I did where it's like you get off stage and then you just have like a gaggle of people being like, yo, what's your Spotify? It's like, yo, no, that was tight. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be like that every time.
Yeah.
But like nothing will beat real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
nah, that's dope, man. How did you get into doing the live performances, and what was your first show like?
yeah, man. My first performance was just like probably on Instagram. I saw someone promote something looking for artists, and I was like, oh, I signed up. And my first show sucked. It was so bad, like because, bro, the reality of it is a lot of these show promoters for independent artists, all they really care about is your ticket sales. Like you could sell tickets and then recoup the cost that it took for us to put on the show, which is annoying, but it is what it is. So at the time, I don't have a name. I don't have like a lot of leverage. So I didn't sell a lot of tickets, obviously. So then I was last on the bill for the show of independent artists, and there was probably like maybe 5 people in the room. Like, you know what I mean? But like that's just how it goes.
Yeah, you got to definitely have those moments, man. Whether there's 2 people in the crowd or 200, 2,000, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you still got a show to put on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to do it for you.
I still try to rap my ass off, you know what I mean? And just use it as getting comfortable on stage and practice. And I said at the end of the show, I was like, man, I'm so grateful for it. All stage could be all right now. Like, I think that's an important thing too, just like approaching it with gratitude. You know, regardless.
Absolutely. Gratitude is important in this music industry, man. Because you never know who is who. You know what I mean? And people don't owe you shit. You know what I'm saying? Nobody has to do anything for you. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, if you come into the game with that mentality, like, oh, you're a famous artist. You're the alchemist. You're famous. You need to make something with me so I can be famous. Like that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When things are put together like that, the fans could tell, and it's not genuine. It's not like the same type of project it would be if Alchemist came to you and was like, hey, I like what you're doing. Let's work on something, you know, because it's different energy like that, you know, versus trying to force something. What have you learned?
A perfect.
Go ahead, bro.
I'll go crazy. No, I was just gonna say. I think a perfect example of that is like, it's like even like this Ice Spice album that just dropped, and like the Travis Scott, I think whatever. It's just like you could tell with her music, it's like so. Like there's like a team of people behind her, like curating, like she just put on the album, and
industry
it's so obvious. Yes, well, I mean, like, hey, I don't know if we're gonna use that terminology, but like, it's definitely like giving, like, yeah, you, like, it's not you, you're just like low key a puppet for.
Yeah, Drake started something. Started that when I mean, he wasn't the first person to do it, but like. You know, when it came out that he had a ghostwriter and people were like, we don't give a fuck. Everybody was like, y'all don't? Y'all really don't care? Okay, well then we're not fighting fair no more. Period. We're going to put 8 writers in the room and we're going to make the best song with 4 producers that sampled the old school record that was already hot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they really not fighting fair. They have a formula and they go with it. But that's the game of making money, not the art. You know what I mean? There's a big difference.
Yeah, it's like 2 different lanes. It's like you could be that Drake or that Ice Spice or that whoever, but like most people, I would assume, want that creative freedom to do what they want, and then just have the label or whatever kind of, you know, pushing them along, whether it's with funding or whether it's with resources. To like allow yourself to like be able to do your thing.
Yeah. How do you
had a question also. I interrupted you.
No, you good, bro. I was gonna say, how do you stay authentic to your sound, or at least what you figured out that like you kind of go for? How do you stay authentic and grounded with like making music and creating? Do you try new things? What's that process like?
Yeah, I think it's like a part of it is trying stuff out and eventually finding the pockets that you're comfortable with, and like the beats you like to rap on, or like the way you like to write, and find what works. And I think from there, it's getting out of your comfort zone and really being a student of the thing, and not just assuming like, oh, I got this, like I gotta like rap on beats with drums, rap on beats with trap drums, rap on low tempo, fast tempo, just like this is, you know what I mean? And it might come out ass, but you're gonna improve. It's just like working out a muscle. You do it every day, you do it, you know what I mean? And it improves the way I do it.
Absolutely. And you also could lose it. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever sleep on it to where like you don't feed that beast. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna try to sit down and make something of your time, and you're not gonna be able to do it. You overthinking everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're not in the mode no more. The muscle memory is gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's very
it definitely depends on your relationship with it. I would say, because I get that like rap is competitive and it's supposed to be like but it's also art. And I don't think art is like sports in a lot of ways. You know, I think art is art. So if you come at it with the respect and the gratitude towards like the art form first, I don't think you'll have a problem necessarily with like losing the muscle. Unless you haven't been doing it for like years, then it's like that's kind of crazy. But
yeah. Well, me personally, man, like I done been in creative spots to where like, you know, I feel like I do this every day. I'll never lose it type thing. And like, I kind of venture off from where I left off. You understand what I'm saying? Not necessarily like I can't do it, but like that sound that I was just like consistent with going for, like, I feel like my ear isn't as trained sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I need to kind of just get right and completely absorb myself into the craft and just get back on my shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everybody's different. That's the beautiful thing about this music thing.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? And like everybody can draw inspiration from different places. What would you say is like the weirdest place that you've drawn inspiration from for a piece of music or a beat or something like that?
The weirdest place I've drawn inspiration from. I don't know if it's like weird per se, but it's like definitely like experiencing like real life like heartbreak. Like definitely was I've never been in a position where that's where the motivation for music is coming from.
Wow.
So it was like a different like you know, you rap about cool things, want to rap about this, it's like I'm living life. But then being put in a position where it's like I have to like get deep into myself and deep into like my imperfections and deep and my insecurities, you know what I mean? And like really, I had to really, and it was just so uncomfortable. But I was really growing like within myself, and then from there you could really hear it in the music. Like,
Yeah.
because even my last album, because it's so, I did not know I could even like make music like that. You know what I mean? Like make music that's ultra like, whoa, this guy's like in his feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What would you say is something that helped push you to continue to stay vulnerable during that time? Because, you know, as an artist, you're used to doing one thing. You're going to something like kind of completely left. You know what I'm saying? At least from what your fan base is used to. What was going on in the back of your mind? Like, I just got to do it.
It was like, man, I just did not have a choice. It was like, music is like, it's who I am, man. It's like breathing, like what I do. So being put in a position where it's like, I was dealing with so much all at once. My only option was like, I gotta put it in the music. I gotta write it down. I have to, because if I write it down and I create a song and I'm able to listen back to it, it could be like an affirmation or a reminder of like I'm gonna be okay, or like give me some confidence, like I'm gonna be all right. Like it wasn't fun. I'll say that it wasn't fun.
Yeah, heartbreak is never fun, man. It's one of those things you just gotta go through it. But it's dope that like you kind of use the music as a crutch, if you will, to get deeper into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When your friends started seeing you turn into a different way, what were some of the reactions that they were giving you while you were kind of going through that phase?
I think the people around me were just really surprised, like in terms of just like, well, one, I think just the quality of the music, because it was so heartfelt and so authentic. So they were definitely like, yeah, like this is dope. I think it was it was like the biggest reaction I got, but you know what? More than anything, it showcased my relationship with music. Like I'm not just here for bars. I'm not just using it to like, or whatever. I'm like really using it as a mechanism to grow within myself and to figure myself out and to figure out the world. And then in turn, the listener hears that and they can figure themselves out. God willing, And
I look at it like you're documenting your growth in real time.
Exactly.
And people are able to grow with you. You know what I'm saying? During that process, there's songs. I'm sure you have this too that like are just near and dear to people's heart because of like what they went through during the time that like they found your song, or like what it got them through when they had it on replay every day, or like you know what I mean. It's just like it's a lot of pressure, but it also makes it worth it at the end, knowing that like someone else saw your vision and it connected. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're trying to get it off the ground.
Yeah, like one of the music videos I dropped for Truth Serum, the song it's on my last album. Someone commented that their brother had just passed away, or was like in the process of like passing on to the other side. And he was like, "Yeah, this song has been helping me so much." And it's not even necessarily a song that is like super emotional or super like, pertaining to that subject. But just the fact that like this guy has been going through like this immense grief and has been using my music as like a comfort tool, it makes it like all worth it. That like this is what it's meant for. Like this is what music was meant to do, for you to like lean on it when you need it,